What do I say? Do I introduce myself?
No.
What?
All right.
Hello, world.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm good. Eddie, how are you?
Doing fantastic. Yeah, especially with your positive attitude.
We have positive energies in here, Alex.
There you go.
A little
There you
chilly
go.
outside.
So, what's going on with Winnie? What's new in your world?
I'm Winnie. I'll introduce myself.
Go ahead.
I am the graphic designer and founder of Moon Time Cursive Studio. And I am doing this journey, and I started from ground zero back in college, and I'm here to tell my story.
I love it. Yeah, that's what this space is all about. Just like listening to people's stories, see what you have to share, your experience overall, and see what we can learn from it.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about
Questions.
that. So, graphic design.
Yes.
That's actually pretty cool.
Thank you.
No, I think so. I mean, it's like you have to have a specific eye to be able to do the kind of stuff that you do.
Yeah.
By the way, my website, fully designed by you, which is fantastic. I've gotten nothing but praises from people like going onto the website and looking at it, and really, really cool. So you do a really cool job. But tell me a little bit more about what graphic design is all about. Because, for example, I only know, like, if you told me, oh, I'm a graphic designer, then I only think of like you maybe making flyers, but not necessarily website, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
it just encompasses so many things within that specific industry, I guess.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about what graphic design really is all about?
Of course. I'll start from the beginning of how I actually started getting into graphic design. So going into college, I knew I liked marketing, any type of business management, anything that involved that. I was like, hey, that's me. So when I went to college in Nebraska native here, I took up marketing, but I didn't realize there were two facets of marketing when it comes to majors, right? One is research, and the other side is all of the graphic design, the public relations, comms, everything else. So when I went to college, I studied the research, I don't want to say boring, because the statistics do come in and tell you otherwise, but I self-taught myself graphic design after getting through college and realizing that, hey, I want to be an Adobe Creative Suite guru. And so I took it on myself, downloaded all of the programs. And back then you could buy the chunk of programs for $300-$400 and be done. And now you have to pay a subscription.
I know.
Because they got smarter.
You're telling me about it. I have the Adobe Creative Suite as well for my video and all that good stuff.
Yes.
So yeah.
You probably use only half of it. What are you doing, Eddie? Just buy what you need.
I know, yeah. I wish it could have been like back then where you could just buy the program. Yeah, no, I know everything's changed to a subscription based, but
oh, absolutely. Side note, sorry, tangent. We were just talking about that the other day, because remember how cable TV was like super cheap and people thought it was expensive? Now streaming services are more than the cable TV.
Yeah, it's true.
Because of subscriptions.
Yeah, like everything adds up if you we have all kinds of different
everything, Hulu, Netflix, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
the list goes on. Okay. Back to graphic design. So then I self-taught myself graphic design, and I did start out with flyers, business cards, logos, that stuff. I was a part of a sorority, Sigma Psi Zeta, and I actually created custom merchandise. And so I went into that realm of e-commerce and just designing things for people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this. And it was trial and error. I would YouTube. Back then, YouTube was still a thing. And I would YouTube videos on how to make certain designs. If I saw something on Pinterest I liked, I mimicked it. And I'm very good at copying certain styles. And so then when it came down to that, back then, there was Zanga and MySpace.
Okay.
And I touched on that because that's actually how I got into website development. Essentially, that's the formal term of a graphic designer that does websites. But with Zanga, the coding was very easy in the back end. So I taught myself coding because in order to design the website the way you want, you had to put in all of these codes. And then when it came to MySpace, you could fluctuate more and, design a picture and pop it in there, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then that's how the website part of it stemmed. But honestly, it's funny you say that graphic design is very general, a general term, because it does mean flyers and whatnot. But I do have to explain to people that I also am a developer in a sense where I can design websites.
Yeah.
As well as code, and then graphic design, I can do things from scratch. And it's funny though, because I can't draw on paper with a craft.
Really? I would have thought I actually knew how to draw on paper.
I can do calligraphy and stencil like actual images, like a dog, like it looks like a squirrel. It's bad.
No, okay, but I mean, at least I know like that for me is a huge just eye opener in regards to the explanation as to what it is, because I think it can kind of be missed,
Yes.
But that's pretty cool, and so I mean, you're kind of dating yourself. Zenga, MySpace.
Yes, that's where I started.
I remember that, and that was really cool.
Did you have one?
I had a MySpace.
Do you still have it?
No, I don't think so, because I think MySpace deleted everything after a certain period of time if you didn't log in anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so everything got deleted unless you were still active on the platform.
I just want to see who my top 8 friends were. Tom was probably one of them.
Tom, for sure. Tom was everybody's friend. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I remember there was a big hype though back in high school with MySpace and the coding part, like the HTML. Like I had a buddy who just bought a book to learn how to really customize everything in MySpace. But Zenga is a new one to me. I never used Zenga.
Zenga came before MySpace. Zenga is more WordPress. It feels like a WordPress, and I'm sure it is WordPress. I didn't do any research background wise on it, but Zenga was more of a blogging site, kind of a Tumblr. You put your emotions on there. It was a Twitter on steroids.
Got it. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
So but that's how you kind of got started into the whole thing for you to start doing that part of the graphic design, which is web development.
Yes.
Website development.
Yes. And on my creative side, I mean, my family in general, they didn't really know too much about marketing or anything like that. I mean, we see it all of the time, but we don't really think about the designers who are doing it and how much time and effort. I mean, you as a videographer understand that.
Yeah.
As well. But for me, what really clicked was that, I don't know, I love vibrant colors. My personality is very vibrant. And I guess I do have an eye for design. I should.
No, you do. I believe you do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the styles that the templates were giving me weren't enough. And so that's why I went in and just try and redo everything to make it my person at the time in that decade, and so after MySpace, Facebook started coming out, and you can't really do too much with Facebook. It's pretty standard platform with photos and whatnot. But I started understanding what social media was, and that's when all of that started getting hype. And then I actually dropped off the face of the planet, didn't do too much of graphic design, and honed into real estate and owning my own businesses in Nebraska.
Yeah.
And so then I went into, with marketing as my background, it helps with everything I did. I first acquired my nail salon in Nebraska.
Yeah.
And then I acquired a CBD shop.
Yeah.
And I also helped with a lot of different industries, the mortgage industry as a marketing assistant for a little while. I was an office manager for a stone thin veneer company for a little while. So I used all of my marketing experience, and it just helped me grow and grow as I proceeded in my experiences in my life.
How did you feel about obviously having a marketing background, just graphic design, all these things that because for example, you were such a big part of helping me start my business last year. And we were just talking about this, that how much more confident I feel now versus a year ago. But a lot of the things that you kind of taught me, or you kind of guided me through for those first couple of months, that for me were like, oh crap, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But having somebody like that and sharing that experience, for me, was a huge help, right?
Oh, I'm so glad.
No, it really was, and I appreciate it. But I'm sure for you, it just helps you be more confident having the knowledge to be able to push these businesses, right? Because you know what you're doing, which again, marketing has to do a lot with how people, get your business out there, people to know what
brand. It's who you are.
So, do you feel that you, even now, that you have your own business in graphic design, or if you were to step into another venture, because you're obviously an entrepreneur, you have that entrepreneur mindset dibbling and dabbling into different businesses.
Yeah.
Do you feel you always have a leg up with that, putting the marketing out there and having that experience when you start a business?
I do. It's a yes and no question. The marketing world is ever changing, right? Different markets, we all grow, we all start seeing different things. So it's ever changing, just like social media. I mean, when I officially branded myself as Moon Time Cursive Studio, by the way, the name is from a cursive font that I really enjoy. It's one of my favorites. And so I just took it and ran with it.
It's really cool.
But having a leg up, I would say yes, in terms of being able to design and put elements together, but learning the algorithms and understanding what industry you're currently in. So my clientele ranges from crystals to real estate agents, to people who are selling clothes at a boutique in the middle of Tustin, and it's different. Target market is a whole different world of research, and I'm glad I got the marketing research behind me because I understand where to look, what programs to use in order to target the right people if they're wanting to do an email campaign or if they're wanting to do mailers or just social media and how to boost that and advertise that to the full extent without wasting money. Advertising dollars goes really fast, especially when it comes down to, I'll just throw some out there like Google ads or even Facebook social, where you're sending out ads, your money goes so fast and you don't see the return right away. Right. But if you put in a strategy and a plan within 2 to 4 months, you should be able to see a return if you're doing it right with the right testing. So I do have a leg up in terms of I can design anything. If someone has a vision and they give it to me, I'll take it and run with it and I can design it for you.
Yeah.
In terms of trial and error and trying to get that retention back from advertising, that's a whole different facet of marketing where I do have to go more in depth. And I love that challenge because you find out which audience goes where, depending if you're a restaurant, or like I said, retail. And so, I would say when my clients approach me, I always forewarn them. I'm like, I'm here as basically your marketing best friend, right? I'm here to give you advice, but I can't promise you a good outcome. Yeah. Like it's up to you to help me understand where you want to go and we reach that goal together.
Correct. Like more like a consultant kind of thing. Yeah. Because I think that has a lot of value just in the sense that if you, and I get, it makes complete sense what you're saying in regards to like, just don't expect for the return on investment to come right away, right? It has to build up over some time for you to start getting some of that investment back. In marketing, there's a lot of dollars that go into marketing.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest struggles for small businesses is that they obviously want to market, but they don't have the budget for it. And I think that's most of the time, even for myself, because I help more on the visual side for the marketing, right? Like bringing, kind of like yourself, if you have an idea, but you want to make it into a video so that people can actually look at it, right?
Absolutely.
Then I have to run with the same idea, put something together, plan it with the client. But most of the time, a lot of the things the challenges that I ran into is a client expects you to do, for example, a video, in your case, maybe something with graphic design.
Yeah.
And then they just do the one thing that is professionally done. Everything else, they continue doing the marketing themselves and doesn't look in a professional manner. So it's like whatever you do is just like the cherry on top of, all the other stuff that they've already done.
Yeah.
And it doesn't allow for you because there's no consistency with that.
Correct.
So if there's no consistency with the work that looks professionally or at a higher level, right? You can't expect for the return on investment to come back unless you continue putting more money into it to try and change, again,
Absolutely.
have a better strategy, have more professional content out there.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that statement wholly. It is an investment. I do work with a lot of small business owners, and mind you, the budget is small and marketing can be a scary thing for people because they don't know, how much it's going to be for this, for that. And there are a lot of free options. That reminds me, I was trying to start a webinar even for just business owners to be able to join in so I can give free advice on something for free that they could do simply. If I coach them through Canva, is a huge platform right now.
Huge.
For and people who don't have a lot of graphic design experience but still want to put something together. The templates they have on there are great. I mean, it's not for everyone, and Canva can be confusing, but even a course through that, you can get a lot of free things that come out of Canva. But some other things you could do, I mean, you go back to the old days where you go and cold call, stuff like that. It's your connections as well. The more people who advertise you and share about you, the more you're going to get traction wise, and the more real you are to the internet. And so people will understand to start clicking when they see your stuff pop up. Yeah. And that's just organic traction that social media algorithms like. Yes, you can boost an ad for $20, but I would say if you do it organically and you have your friends share with you, or you reach out to 5 people a week and just have them share about you, you're going to get more organic followings and people will like your stuff because of who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think that's pretty cool that you know all this stuff. Again, right, this is kind of like your realm of expertise, just the whole marketing side of it, and that's how you help businesses continue like to try it and build that brand that they're really trying to go after, right?
Absolutely.
Really cool. Tell me, so I know that you were mentioning you put a pause on this for a while. You ran a couple of other businesses in between.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But going back to your college days, how much do you think, was this like a passion that you saw? Because, you know, like you're really, really good at it. You have a good eye for design overall. I think that's why people are really attracted to the work that you do, aside from the consulting and the knowledge that you have. But was this kind of like a passion, or was there something else that you wanted to do originally when you were trying to get into this whole thing?
I feel like I have a lot of passions. I want to say I'm like a jack of all trades, but I don't have a master trade, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted to dip my toes into everything. As a business entrepreneur, you kind of have to wear a lot of hats. So I taught myself bookkeeping. I taught myself everything from budgeting to marketing, understanding how much outsourcing would be, everything. It was graphic design and marketing in general has always been a passion of mine.
Gotcha.
But in college, there were so many opportunities for me that I couldn't really pass up, if that makes sense. So I went to school full time. I was in my sorority, helping plan a lot of events. I was very oriented and wanting to help others. So I volunteered a lot at vet clinics because at a point I wanted to be a veterinarian. So
cool.
I did a lot of that.
Yeah.
And it's just random stuff. And then I also worked a job on the side. I was always working part-time somewhere. And so it was a lot of my plate, and graphic design was just a part of me that if someone needed something for their project or whatever it was, then I'd help them, or a business card, stuff like that. And then it turned into more of a passion after I was able to use all my marketing for my nail salon, like to advertise that. And then for the CBD shop to advertise, build flyers and all that good stuff, and packaging labels. And then after I sold those shops off, moving to California, I took it upon myself to start doing the graphic design on the side. And I had people I knew through the Greek organization that were starting to build their businesses. And they knew I was very crafted in marketing. And so that's how I kind of started taking my realm. I'm like, okay, that could actually be something. I never thought about like, oh, I should open my own design company ever, because I was always doing retail, a lot of e-commerce stuff. And that was what I was selling and doing really well. I like to be in front of people and I like to sell stuff.
Yeah. So. But I mean, that passion has now turned into this whole business for you. And that's pretty cool. What are some of the challenges that come with being a business owner for you?
Everything.
I know.
No. I mean, as a business owner, there's going to be rainy days and sunshiny days. As in any job, any employment, it is what you make of it, right? If you're stuck with a challenge, let's just say there's a month where I'm not getting as many clients as I was hoping or meeting my goal for, right? That just pushes me to be more creative. And how can I get clients where I don't have to spend thousands of or hundreds of marketing dollars to advertise myself, right? So then I'll come up with plans like some tidbits and advice would be networking, finding the right groups to join on Facebook and just meeting with them, or just scouring Instagram and finding websites and just calling them up if they're local.
Yeah.
Say you're local and you have a knack for this, send them a portfolio and you can grab a client very quickly. So a part of that is being able to control, I guess, any type of business that comes to service or whatever it is. I don't want to say your client's controlling your business, but essentially they do. So you have to take control yourself. And that's something I've learned the hard way, right? I've had months where I made maybe a few $100s. And I've had months that have made me awesome dollars because of website design or whatever that person needed for the month. So it goes in waves, but it's just another challenge. And that's something that people have to take and run head on with. Let's just say if you're retail and you're not doing very well one month, it might not be cutting your losses and doing sales. No, don't do that. How do you advertise yourself to make an impact more in that person's life? And how can your product make it into their hands because it benefits them? So it's thinking outside the box and just optimistically, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. Super cool. How can we go back? You mentioned, because I was just going to ask you how important is networking for you? And you mentioned like the first thing was like networking, right?
Yes.
So like you put it out there. So how do you network like nowadays, for example, for your business? Aside from, like meeting people, like is there something like specific that you do, or you just try to go out there, get in front of people, get to know them, try to add value? Like, is that kind of like your whole thing with it? Or is there a specific secret that you have?
I just give out Girl Scout cookies all the time, you guys.
You must pack up during the cookie season.
I do. No, I am very fortunate. When I first came to California, I was already in real estate. I had been running 3-4 Airbnbs back in Nebraska. I'm done with those, but I was flipping one in La Quinta, Palm Desert, Palm Springs area. And so, but the market in California is very different than Nebraska.
Yeah.
Pull out of that. And then when it comes to networking in general, it's who you know, right? Everyone is always kind of seeking out for the next best thing. And so I would go on Eventbrite and look for webinars, stuff like that, and make sure I socialize with people, anyone in the area. I also have a good networking system when I worked in real estate here in Marietta. And so all of those agents and connections that I've had, I've kept up with.
Yeah.
And so anytime they have an event or they're hosting something, they would invite me and I'd go to it, right? So you never want to pass up the opportunity. And sometimes it's harder for people to get out there, especially after the pandemic. Still, people are kind of iffy. But in order to put your face in front of someone, you never know what could happen, right? You can stand there in the corner, someone will approach you, you're going to have to say something. You can't just stand there and just ignore them. So you just show up anyways, even if you are shy, just to see who's out there and see what the dynamic is and see what your community is about. Because the more your face is in the community, the more they realize that you care, right? And people want to work with people who care. And I don't have any secrets. I'm just very outgoing. And when I talk to people, I always make sure I ask about, hey, my name is Winnie. And I bring up the fact that I'm a graphic designer or in marketing. It helps them kind of gauge where my headspace is at. And I'll ask them, what are you doing in Marietta, or where are you from? And then they'll speak about their business if it's a business networking function. And then, of course, cards are getting passed out. But one thing I guess I do that might be different than a lot of people do is I'll gather those business cards. I'll enter them right away after the event into my phone. So I have everyone with their first, last name and the company. And then in the notes, I put down what they're doing, like if they're a financial advisor. And then I'll send out an email, just like later that night or the next day, being, hey, my name is Winnie. I met you at this event. It was so great meeting you. And I usually remember a fact or two about them. And I let them know I'm available and these are my services. And if they need help, come on by. So that's something I do different. It only takes 10 to 15 minutes, honestly, but it's had people come back to me and have me at top of mind or save me as their contact in their phone. And so that's just a tidbit of mine to follow up when you have not free, but essentially free advertising, your walking advertisement. So why not make use of it where you have email that's free?
Which is pretty cool because, it's very simple, right? But it goes a long way. And not only have you now sent an email, which again, now you have a record of when this happened, but now that you've sent them the email, it's like in a way you are putting your contact in like, automatically in somewhere that they have a way to reach back. It's like, oh yeah, Winnie did send me an email, right? If something comes up or they need a job related to graphic design or marketing or something that you can help them with.
Absolutely.
You're completely right. You will be top of mind just because of that little gesture that you did. So that's actually a really, really good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's simple and easy and straightforward.
It's sweet and you don't even have to talk to them in their face.
Yeah.
So,
can we talk about some of the resources like, that you use, for example, or that you recommend for people to use if they're like looking? I know we mentioned on Canva being, I guess, the most popular one.
Yeah.
Are there any other like specific things that, like, if, for example, if somebody's trying to get into it and maybe they're trying to see if this is really for them in graphic design, Canva being one of them? Yeah, it's all kind of like the cookie cutter.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already pre-made. You just kind of put it together based on your style or what you're trying to do.
The drag and drop.
Yeah, drag and drop. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically a drag and drop platform.
Okay,
which is nice.
Is there anything else like that, or any other tools that you use?
I recommend Canva just because it's easy to collaborate on. A lot of my clients like Canva because it's cheap. I mean, essentially, I think they still have the free version where you can get all the free basic shapes and whatnot. Pay more for the fancy fonts and pictures. But everyone can collaborate on it. So you can share a link and whoever's next in line to look over proof, whatever it is, you can add notes on there. They've made it really Google Suite friendly, I guess, in a sense. I use Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. And that's a curveball, just on many levels. I mean, you can go in there and play around with the tools, but if you don't continuously take their courses that they bump out new add-ons and stuff like that, you're going to be lost unless you want to create a certain style and stick with that style and that's all you want to do. That's not me. I like to expand my horizon and I'll learn different ways to make 3D shapes or whatever it is on there. Another, I guess, your Apple phone now has, I forget what the app is called, but it's a Freeform. Oh, it's called Freeform.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. Maybe Android has one, but you can draw and stuff on there too if you're more illustrations and want to go that way and make greeting cards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all part of graphic design too. So depending on what a person is going for, if they're wanting just to create a quick business card or a quick flyer, Canva's probably the way to go and the most inexpensive.
Gotcha. Another thing I did want to ask you, and I know it forms a big part of your life, is you're a military wife.
I am.
And
yes.
Thanks
proud.
To your husband for his service to our country. It's always appreciated. But how do you kind of balance all that stuff out? And the only reason I bring it up is because I truly believe somebody who is in the military and the wives, are also just as enlisted as a person that is actually, out there physically serving the country. Just because of the time that it takes, and the balance, the way you have to balance your life and kind of just, while they're out or they're gone, what have you. But how does that play a big role? And again, thank you for your service too, because again, to me, it's equally important, just to have the husband and the spouse just kind of supporting them that way. So,
oh, thank you for your kindness, Eddie.
No, of course. But how do you kind of balance all that stuff out, with your business and making sure that you kind of have, the attention that you want, or just, fulfillment of needs with you and him, or when he's gone? Like, how does all that play into role?
Absolutely. No, that's a great question. So I've been married to my husband almost 3, I always say 10 years, 100 years, because it's always, I feel like time goes by so fast with him before he has to go on another training or deployment or something like that. Mind you, he just got back from a deployment in the last November. And he was gone for about 6 months. And it is rough. I mean, I would say, in general, my personality, I'm very independent. So I'm not saying I'm not dependent, because I do enjoy being around my husband and I'm touchy, feely as well. But for him to be on the same page as me is what makes it work so well for us. We have trust in each other, of course. We're loyal to each other. He makes effort whenever he's gone out in training or on the field for 2 weeks, whatever it is. That he communicates with me, so it's not like he's leaving me in the dark and just saying peace.
Yeah.
And so when he was gone for the 6 months, my Moon Time Cursive Studio business was full blown. Like I had clients coming in left and right, and I'm very grateful for a lot of the hot clients I received that were very organic. So by word of mouth, my name was passed around, and just because my customer service or my style they like you said, and so I was very busy. And we have 2 dogs. We don't have any kids.
Yeah. But I mean, those are your kids.
Yes, of course. My furry babies are my kids.
Yes.
I don't see them any other way. Kids I can put in kennels. So, I was very busy with my clients and projects, and he would check in, let's just say via email, and he'd ask about my day. And I mean, I was keeping an online journal for him to kind of go and read about my day because we wouldn't get to talk a lot, maybe once a day, if that. There were people who weren't able to talk to their husbands at all for weeks on end. So I was very fortunate. He was just working in an area where he had access to a computer. And so business kept me busy. I made a routine for myself with the dogs. I'd go to the park with them or go work out every single day, things that filled up my time that made me feel good about myself, and there were harder days, of course, where I'm like, I just want my husband.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, in those moments, what can you really do, right? Hug your pillow tight. I bought a body pillow and I hugged it tight at night,
Yeah.
and I mean, crying is a thing. It helps with your emotions. So there would be maybe one time a month where I just cried. Yeah. So, there's just different things to cope about it. But at the end of the day, I know that he's fighting for a country. He's out there doing training, whatever he needs to protect us. So I always saw it as I'm very optimistic. So any opportunity, anytime someone's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm doing awesome. He's doing awesome. Thank you for asking. We're just kicking it and counting down the days for him to come back, and we're going to get back into routine.
Yeah.
It helps to have a really good group of friends. So like your wife, she's in my girl group, and we met once a month for craft night, or we'd go to lunch and just catch up on things. A good support system goes a very long ways. I also, I'm a video gamer on the side, so it kept me a little busy as well.
Which is really, really cool.
I mean, I'm on the PC all day. Why not do something fun? And so I found things to fill my time. And the times that I was sad, I was always in the moment thinking my husband where he's going to come back and it's going to feel normal again.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward. It's always looking forward. I'm never like mulling about, oh my gosh, he's gone. I'm always looking forward. I'm like, hey, it's going to be this many days for your home and we get to go do this. Mm-hmm. Another huge thing that we did was always plan out trips in advance. So when we had our snowboarding week-long trip planned out. Yeah. So we were looking forward to that, planning for that, excited for things that we were going to go see and do. And just, getting really hyped up for all of that helps the missing part of the emotion that you feel go away because you're missing the good experiences and you're excited to get it back. So.
Yeah. So that is pretty cool. I think a lot of the stuff that you mentioned is like, building a routine or planning things out. Mm-hmm. So it helps a lot to have that, like building those habits, whether it's when he's gone or when he's here.
Correct.
But having a routine helps a lot just carrying through your day. And I'm assuming that's just not on the personal level, but also on the business level.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So I had a goal for myself. I tried to go to 2 networking events a month. And mind you, my husband got back and nothing really changed. Okay. Like I'm still doing what I do with him gone and with him here. I just now dedicate more time to when he's home to be able to work out with him because everything that I did, he already does, if that makes sense. Like working out, hanging out, whatever it is. And so in business, yes, I built a routine. I block scheduled myself. And that really kept me consistent as well in growing my business and being able to scale it upwards. I did hire on 2 assistants at one point, and then I realized that I didn't have enough capacity to train them the way I wanted to. So they were with me for about 3 months or so. And I just said, hey, sorry if I need you again. Like I'll ask you to come back to work on some projects. But right now I just don't have the capacity to train you as I should. And I don't want to be a terrible boss. So
No. I mean, it's a tough decision, but it's whatever is going to work for you. And it's good that you see it that way, that, because I guess sometimes people don't want to make those tough decisions. It's kind of hard, but
yeah.
So if somebody, for example, wanted to follow in your footsteps, right? And actually says like, yes, I want to follow, like, I want to do graphic design or anything that has to do with marketing somewhere within that realm. What would you be like if you could build in a perfect world, by the way? This is not like this in a perfect world. Doesn't have to be right or wrong.
Okay.
But if you were to give some advice to somebody or build a roadmap, what would be some things that you would tell people to kind of like do or try out to see if that's really what they want to do to kind of help them succeed if they follow in those footsteps?
Oh, absolutely. If it were me and I was talking to my younger self.
Yes, it kind of always goes back to that. Like, what would I tell my younger self?
Yeah.
So what would you tell your younger self?
I would start watching videos off the get-go on things that graphic designers do.
Okay.
Like you said, there's a lot of facets that go into it. Website building, or you could just design flyers, logos, whatever your niche may be. Watch videos on that to see someone else design and see if it's really for you. Because in that dedicated time, I don't have specific people that you should go watch.
Yeah.
You can just Google YouTube, search on YouTube, and find those videos and educate yourself more. Before you jump in and start buying all these programs and subscribing to them, don't waste that money because they could reference different programs that are free that you could try out. I forget. There is one program that is free and you can only use it on your browser, but it allows you to draw kind of like in Illustrator or Photoshop.
Okay.
So that you can kind of experiment with all the different tools. But watch those videos, teach yourself kind of the methods, and then see how everything is done. Website coding is not for everyone.
Okay.
And website design is not for everyone. There's a lot of beta testing that goes into it for everything to look right, plus mobile compatibility. That's a huge thing. And so if you're working on different platforms like Squarespace, Shopify, WordPress, whatever it is, you have to learn the ways of that actual host site. Otherwise, everything is completely different from one site to the other.
Okay.
And then in terms of just graphic design, like I said, videos, and then use that free, either in Canva or the free, you can just Google free Photoshop or something like that, and it should pop up. Try it out first and see if you really like it, and provide kind of free designs to your friends and family and be like, hey, what do you think about this? Honest opinion, and kind of gauge that. I didn't really do that part. Well, I just kind of went, okay, if they don't like it, I just won't take them as a client.
Yeah. But
I wish I got more feedback back then. And I mean, in graphic design, constructive criticism is you have to be open-minded. It's impossible to kind of avoid because you'll get it from any client. There's going to be a client where you design a certain way. They know you design that way, but they still don't like it. And you have to learn when to say, okay, well, I might not be the designer for you. So you might have to go find someone else or give them referrals from different styles of designers.
it's an art.
Yes, it is an art, and you have to find your niche. And if you don't find that and you're kind of sporadic everywhere, it's going to be very hard for you to hone in on your clientele because you're going to get every type of clientele and you're going to get more frowns and smiles because they're going to be judging you and you won't know how to take that. And then you'll want to quit, which you shouldn't. Because in art or anything that you're creating something, everyone else has a different vision. And to be open-minded in the beginning and to understand that will get you really long ways. Like you're building a callus, especially for your ego, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it is tough out there. I've had plenty of clients who I was like doing great, and all of a sudden they're like, nope, I just don't like anything you're doing right now. And you're like, I've been doing everything the same.
Yeah.
But their vision might have changed. They might have seen something. So if that's the case, just ask them, did you see something? Can you screenshot it to me? Stuff like that.
So feedback goes a long way for you because especially in your work, it allows you to adapt with maybe the way that the client is changing or maybe because a lot of times I know that I always usually ask my clients before I do a video, great, like I'll take all the information, what they want, but I'm like, reference me a video. Give me something that I can reference to that you've watched or something that you want to mimic or something that you want to, hey, I saw this person do it this way or this is the video I saw. That way I have a reference of the style, right? Because it's the same thing. There's a style, there's a way to shoot it or, so there's different ways to do it. And I think it pertains to you as well, right? There's different styles out there. There's not only one style. And like we were mentioning, it's an art.
Correct.
So some people will like it and some others won't. And that's okay if they don't because again, you might not be the designer for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so another roadmap like you said, if you go onto Pinterest and just Google some design, try to mimic that entire design. If you like it, try to mimic it yourself. And if you go through and you get upset, maybe you go find a different design.
Yeah.
And try those steps out and see what you really like, right? I fell into websites because I started way early on with Zanga and MySpace. And I knew, I was just like, I understand websites, how they work, how they should function, and what and things to run it on so that it uploads quickly, and the SEO, search engine optimization, is up to par with our Google engine or whatever engine someone is using, Bing. So I'm very aware of that, and it's kind of like I built a habit for myself to find different research sources and learn about it. But it took some time, everything changes.
Building a portfolio, which is something you mentioned, by doing kind of like that work for like individuals, family members, friends, or stuff like that, and getting that feedback. Do you think it really allows you, aside from the constructive criticism that you'll get, is just, one, you're building your portfolio, which helps, right?
Absolutely.
But two, do you think it molds you into really the style that you want to end up having, or is just more to kind of like get different references as to what people may like?
Love it. It helps build customer service.
Okay.
It helps you talk to people in a manner where you should be professional when you're running a business.
I love that. Okay.
And so when you're reaching out to friends or family, I mean, all of them, you're not going to talk like they're a bro. So, but it helps hone into, if you're shy or introverted, to reach out and ask the right questions. And they might be asking questions earlier on where they're comfortable asking you now, but then you can take it and build that questionnaire for your client in the future.
Yeah. That is so cool. I was not expecting for you to go that route, because for me, it was just, okay, you're building your portfolio, maybe kind of like building a style. But for it's aside from those two things, it's taking in those, maybe the feedback, because it can be, I guess, overwhelming sometimes to receive feedback for the work that you've done, because you know how much time you put into it.
Yes.
Right. And then for somebody to critique what you've done can be tough. But I guess that professionalism, learning how to take that, providing, like giving an answer back to a client, you kind of threw a curveball. I love it. That's not something that I didn't even see, but you're very, very right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard taking criticism. I know that for me, that's one of the things that I continue to work on. Not to take it personal, right? It's about my work. And now I understand, again, it's an art. And again, we mentioned on that people are going to like it. Some people are not, and that's okay.
Stay true to who you are. Because at the end of the day, if you mold into everyone's vision, you're going to lose yourself and you won't like what you do. It won't be a passion for you anymore. You're just following directions from someone else, in which you want it to be your own boss. So follow your own direction. And if they don't like it after 2 times, let them go. It's okay. You'll find another client who loves you for you and your style.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take that one for myself. I like it.
Take it.
Every episode that I've done, I'm spilling stuff on myself.
Oh, no.
Every episode that I've done, I try to take something and I apply it. So everybody has something to share. And I think that's the beauty about this whole experience, is that people local to you, people in your circle of influence, people who you do business with, like they all have something to share. And I think we all have something of value that we can, that we've learned along our experience, either through the business side, personal side, spiritual side even. And it just allows us to, one, communicate, and two, put it out there, because I think these are all good vibes that, that you have had an experience way different than I have, right? And there's some things that we have in common, some things that we may clash on, but there are also that sharing that common ground and learning new things from others is like so cool. I think that's the best part about doing this whole thing.
Absolutely. I love it. You should start putting the quotes up on your walls.
That's
everywhere.
not a bad idea. Yeah, there you go.
My creative mind is running. My graphic design mind.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, because you did mention that, is like you do the gaming side of things. Like you just do that for fun, right?
I do.
Talk to me a little bit more about that, because I know you do it for fun, but it's like it's such a cool thing, because I know there are a lot of people out there that for them, like, I mean, even nowadays things are changing for the better. I think e-game or esports is a thing now.
Oh, yes.
And like people are like gravitating to it. I know universities are now starting to recruit students,
thing.
and it's like a big thing. So how much do you know about that world, and what can you share about it?
Oh gosh,
I know it's something you do for fun, but it's not. But I mean, it's great to ask somebody like yourself about it, that you're more into that.
Yeah,
because I have no idea about it. I only know what I see in the news.
Of course, I've actually always been a PC gamer. ever since high school. I started with StarCraft.
Whoa.
Went into Minecraft. Minecraft's still around.
Yeah.
And then I recently just picked up Destiny 2.
Okay.
My husband's going to be like, oh gosh, she's nerding out. But I enjoy PC gaming a lot. I think it's kind of like watching a movie, except you're in control of it.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 is a point shooter game. I mean, I didn't know anything about point shooter games like that. But had some friends playing it, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
And I'm actually pretty decent.
Oh, nice.
So I do have a Twitch account, and I was wanting to stream live back in 2020, but I need a whole crazy PC setup. So once that is bought, I'll be streaming live. But yeah, with esports, I mean, I've watched some of the competitions, and it's pretty hardcore. They build teams around it, and they go into battle and they win money, and it's huge. I don't know if I'll ever get to that level, but it's fun playing with friends. So I have, a good chunk of friends who play the same game, and we go and we do different campaigns and stuff in there.
Are there other females with the other friends that you have, or are there mostly males? Because that's one of the things that I've seen. It's very male dominant, like for the games. So when I have, like, especially you, that you're a female and you're into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You might think, well, I'm nerding out. I don't think Jordan will think that, but it's pretty cool because not all females will really gravitate to that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think there's
or they're hiding,
and I think it's really cool that you do that, because then it's just one more thing. More power to you, because it just shows that again, females can do anything. I really am a truly believer of that, but it just it's pretty cool how even in a male dominant kind of like thing, you're kind of just getting yourself, because it's something fun for you and it's something that you like to do.
It's so true. No, my group of friends that play the video games with me are all male.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like, I enjoy their presence because they know a lot about the games, right? There's a lot of backstory to a lot of the games. And then I've been watching The Last of Us, and that's off of a video game too. And that seems really fun, but there's so many more people out there that know more about the video games. I have some female friends that play video games, but they don't play the same ones as I do.
Gotcha.
But very minor, maybe two, if I can count on my hands.
Yeah, because there's not very many.
No, and I don't know if that's just, on Twitch, everyone, you can find females playing on there. But it is very male dominated, and I don't understand why, because it's so fun. Like, we're all on PCs, we're all on screens, and people might be playing video games on their mobile phones. They're still a gamer, mobile gamer. But for PC gaming, it's not for everyone. Some people like their Xbox and their PlayStations. But I just got back into it because it just seemed fun at the time. I wanted to learn something new, and I pride myself in wanting to learn something new every month. And so I'm like, why not this game?
Yeah.
So then I picked it up and I learned the ropes, and I watch YouTube videos. I watch Twitch streamers. So everything I do it when I research, I take it and then I try to learn it quickly and try to perfect it.
Yeah.
So, but in the realm, being a female in a male dominated world, I don't think a lot of people know that I'm a female playing. My character is female, but anyone could play whatever gender they want.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know that, hey, I'm female and I'm better than you.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, more power to you.
Yeah.
Which I get, it's kind of like that movie Ready Player One, was it?
We love that movie.
That movie's so cool.
Love that movie.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And again, kind of like you were mentioning, you don't know who's behind the character.
No, we have no idea.
No, but that's pretty cool that you do that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, with that, I don't know if there's anything else you kind of want to share. I'll kind of leave it open to you, but if not, honestly, just to kind of like wrap it up, I just really, truly from the bottom of my heart want to thank you for your time, for being here, for sharing
Thanks
this.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's pretty cool. You're a very interesting person, and I always
you're interesting too. Eddie.
Thank you. But it's pretty cool that to have somebody, like I said, I don't think I've ever told you this, but I do value you more than you know, just because when I was first starting my business, right, and it continues to grow, and that's kind of like the whole purpose, to continue to grow my business. But I've always the marketing side, which is your kind of like your forte, what you're good at. I was able to rely on somebody like yourself, and all your knowledge was very truly like so important to me at that specific phase of, starting my business. So thank you for that.
I believe in you.
No, I know. And I believe in myself
I was like,
now
go
too.
Eddie,
Yeah.
go Eddie. Let me help you. I don't care if you're asking or not. Here's this.
No, and that's the thing. I think it comes to show that having or relying on people that are good at what they do, it's a really important source or resource that, we have to use, and not be scared to ask for that help when we need it, because everybody needs help, right? And you can either go and try and do it yourself, and, that's one way if you prefer it that way. But I think it's more important to ask for the help, and then, at some point kind of like just give it back, because you never know who's gonna need the help from you at some point, that maybe now I can add value back to you, or back to your business. So
yeah.
No, but honestly, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this.
I love this.
Thank you.
Thankful that you're creating something very cool.
We're trying.
This was on my bucket list and you took it.
Oh,
no, just kidding.
Nice.
This is awesome.
No, thank you so much. But again, by the way, people can look you up on Instagram and I think it's at
Moon Time. Yep, at Moon Time Cursive Studio.
Correct.
And then also moontimecursivestudio.com. I'm revamping my site. I'm actually relaunching my online shop for custom merchandise.
Oh, cool.
So people can go in and customize whatever they need.
Oh,
and then,
neat.
and I'm building out some Greek product lines as well. And then I'm taking fan requests.
Nice.
So people have been just throwing ideas at me. I'm making just random t-shirts, and that's all the fun stuff that's coming out.
Cool.
in the
Make
next
sure I
month.
put your info in there. But okay, so Moon Time Cursive Studio.
I know, it's a mouthful.
That is actually pretty cool. And at Moon Time Cursive Studio.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's me.
Winnie, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks,
Again,
Eddie.
I appreciate your time, and this is I'm sure this is going to be really informational for people who want to kind of enter this space.
Thanks, Eddie.